Imagine these ships engaging in a routine training exercise when an unidentified aircraft with a small radar cross-section appears on the Princeton's radar, heading directly towards the battle group. The aircraft has no transponder and does not respond to radio calls. The Princeton hurriedly contacts two F-18s already aloft to intercept the target. As the two F-18s approach, the four aviators see that the object has no wings or exhaust. It is white, oblong, some 40 feet long and perhaps 12 feet thick. One pilot pursues the craft while his wingman stays high. The pilots are astonished to see the object suddenly reorient itself toward the approaching F-18. In a series of discrete tumbling maneuvers that seem to defy the laws of physics, the object takes a position directly behind the approaching F-18. The pilots capture gun camera footage and infrared imagery of the object, but are outmatched by a technology they've never seen. Fearful for their safety and running low on fuel, both F-18s return to the Nimitz. Yet the strange object remains in the vicinity of the Nimitz for hours, monitored by the USS Princeton and radar aboard a Navy E-2 Hawkeye aircraft. At one point, the object soars to 80,000 feet, hovers, then drops at supersonic speeds, coming to a full stop a mere 50 feet above the ocean, where it resumes hovering.
Welcome to SST. In the last week, this video has been circulated around the internet. I wanted to look deeper into what other events had been confirmed from past years. I now believe that not only could this footage be genuine, but there is an overwhelming proof that our military have engaged UFOs many times. Christopher Mellon talks about the maneuvers this craft was making. He also mentions the pilots are fearful for their safety. Why would this be? Do you think if a craft of unknown intent is close to the USS Nimitz military strike group, the US would simply just watch this? I believe there is more to this story, and we're going to look at recently declassified cases to see what our military do when they encounter UFOs. This is Milton Torres. He was a former jet pilot in the United States Air Force. On May 20th, 1957, the 25-year-old Torres was ordered on a mission to intercept and shoot down a large UFO that had been picked up by radar in the skies over East Anglia. Torres, flying a North American Aviation F-86D Saberjet, approached the object and prepared to fire upon it. As he locked his weapons, the UFO suddenly zoomed away at a high rate of speeds. The details of this case were first made public in a release of UFO-related case files by the British government in October 2008. You can confirm this whole event for yourself on the National Archives online from the UK government. It's important to note that Milton would not have come forward if it had not been for the declassification of the British UFO files. He would have taken this amazing piece of evidence to his grave. In this Sky News interview, Milton recounts his encounter.
Well, I'd like you to come back and meet a very special man that I've been talking to. He's Milton Torres. He's in Miami for us, and over 50 years ago, he was ordered to shoot down a UFO when he was based in Britain, and he was flying over East Anglia, wasn't far over Norwich City, and he was told to shoot down what appeared to be a huge object.
You could say,
hey?
You could say it was somewhere between Norwich and Ipswich. It was right in that area.
Milton,
there?
I know that you locked on and then there was nothing to fire at because this thing went like the speed of sound at, say, 10,000 miles an hour.
I have no idea. It was 10 Mach. 10 Mach, at least.
You must have, I mean, for the last 50 years, this thing must have haunted you, didn't it?
It certainly did. I wanted to know what it was in the worst possible way. This is the sort of thing a scientist wants to dig his teeth into.
Did you do some research on it?
Are you there? Say again?
I was just wondering, have you spent a lot of time researching into what it might have been and what it could have been?
Well, yes, I did. I did a lot of researching on my own, but I found nothing that we knew of. So that's the best I could come with it. It was just way too fast and way too well, let's put it this way. It aberrated all of the laws of Newton that Sir Isaac Newton put in place. So that's why I know it was something different.
And it certainly wasn't, you don't feel you could have been fooled by reflections in the sky. There was something solid, something tangible
there. No, there were two of us. There were two of us, myself and my wingman. And my wingman, for the life of me, I cannot remember who he was. But whoever he was, I just didn't know who the hell besides myself could be seeing this. So that was two radars up there, not just one, and the GCI radar as well.
When you went up to fly again after that, I mean, did you always think I might see it again?
Well, I always hoped, but I never saw it again.
And what about other pilots? Did you ever talk to other pilots about it? I mean, did other pilots say,
yes,
yeah, I've seen
talked
something?
to several others. Mm-hmm. I've talked to several others, and most of them have said they've seen something, but they didn't know what it was.
But presumably,
and that's about the bottom line.
But everybody like you presumably was sworn to silence and sort of threatened by the government to keep your mouth shut or lose your job.
Well, let me tell you why it was so scary to me. They promised to take me out of my airplane, and I loved my airplane more than I loved anything, including my mother. You know, so as far as I was concerned, that was heresy to talk like that. So when they said that, they got my obedience.
Sounds like they got your attention, and you got ours as well. Milton Torres, it's been a pleasure talking to you here on Sky News. Thank you very much for joining us from Miami with the stories of the UFO. Great story.
It should be noted that both Milton and Christopher talk about the two separate craft making maneuvers that defy our understanding of conventional physics. And it may be a stroke of luck that these stories were able to be told in the first place. In 1970, a UFO may have brought down a fighter jet off the UK coast, abducting the pilot. Captain Scheffner has never been found, but he was declared dead. He reported seeing a flying cone that outmaneuvered his aircraft. Based at RAF Binbrook, Lincolnshire, during the Cold War, the 28-year-old pilot had took off into the skies over Grimsby on the night of September 8, 1970. He headed out over the North Sea en route to Flamborough, but the plane ditched into the sea 5 miles south of Flamborough shortly after 10:30 p.m., sparking an air and sea search and rescue operation that was covered by local newspapers. On October 7, 1970, it was revealed that the plane had been found when the Royal Navy divers sailed to Flamborough on board the HMS Kedleston, but their search still did not provide answers, and they returned empty-handed. The pilot's body was still missing, and the plane remained on the seabed. It would take until December that year for the submerged plane to be brought to the surface, but to everyone's surprise, the canopy over the cockpit was closed, and the cockpit was empty. The final report with the pilot's body still missing to this day was that he bailed and drowned. Official investigations do not answer the question to why the cockpit was closed with no body. They surmise that the cold water retracted shut the cockpit compartment. If the pilot did bail, surely the cockpit would have been separated from the plane. The big word in ufology has been disclosure. But disclosure is here. We know we are being visited by alien craft. We know this from our own experiences and those well documented by video and high-ranking officials that have come forward. The new big word in ufology is simple. It's contact. We know you are here. Now it's time to communicate with the human race. We are ready.
Now, though, the politics of UFOs. Mexican Air Force pilots capturing on videotape what are said to be 11, count them, 11 UFOs, unidentified flying objects. They are officially that. Bright objects, some sharp points of light moving quickly across the sky. The tape called historic by some. Members of the Mexican Defense Department saying it's the first time UFOs have had the backing of any country's armed forces. Now, a group of activists calling on the United States government to end what it says is an embargo on the truth about extraterrestrial life. What is that thing on your screen? With us now from Washington is Stephen Bassett, founder and executive director of the Extraterrestrial Phenomena Political Action Committee. Last time he was here, he was running for Congress, was unsuccessful in that venture. But I will ask you today, sir, the Mexican government, the Mexican military says, hey, we took these pictures, these are UFOs. What was that, do you know?
This is significant for two reasons, Shepard. One, this is released by the Defense Ministry of Mexico. This is a message being sent to the United States government that Mexico and many other governments are losing patience with our government's intransigence in ending this embargo. Other messages have been sent by France in 1999 with the Cometa report, and by the United Kingdom when they released a substantial number of documents regarding the Bentwaters case in 2000. Many countries know about the extraterrestrial presence, but they deferred to the United States with regard to the timing of when disclosure would take place. But they're simply losing patience.
How do we know this, by the way?
Well, we know it by paying attention. I've been following this now for 10 years. We call it the politics of disclosure, the disclosure process. Hundreds of government witnesses in this country have come forward, and other governments are putting pressure on our government. The media hasn't covered it thoroughly enough, Shepard. If it did, it would learn about some of the things I'm mentioning here, and also learn about thousands of other videos and photographs that have been taken over Mexico by Mexican citizens since 1991.
There's absolutely no question about that, and his number, thousands, is accurate since 1991. Thousands of pictures and videotapes of discs, but never anything like this, taken by such sophisticated cameras on board military vehicles.
Oh, there's been plenty of...
But not as clear and widespread as this, and government confirmed in this way.